What up, perps? Kid Copious, back in effect. Purple State Party. You know what we're doing here, man? We're trying to rep America, the center, and common sense. And this one goes out to anyone who's ever watched my videos. Keep on popping. So, I'm going to start this off. I'm going to use this chunk somewhere else, so it's kind of an explanation. First and foremost, yes, I cover my face. I am not hiding my face. I am concealing my identity. Big difference. I don't have the luxury of making money doing this. I don't have the luxury of a job that really couldn't care less what I said or did. You know, I also don't have the prettiest of face. So it's better for me to do it this way. Before I start every show, one of the things I just do, it's one of my chores that I have, is I need to feed the birds. And that's not a euphemism. I literally feed the birds. Sparrows, doves, scrub jays, squirrels. They all come by. I throw out peanuts. I throw out grain. I throw out corn. And, you know, occasionally I get pigeons. You know, I have a BB gun. It used to be over there. The rats come. So I put out more. I just put out more peanuts. And I was standing there this morning having my smoke. And, you know, little mice come jumping out. And they grab the peanuts and they run back into their bush. I don't shoot them, you know. With all that kind of activity around, you know, the different mockingbirds, crows, whatever, especially sparrows and doves, you know, I end up seeing a lot of hawks and falcons in this area. And I don't shoot them either. I wouldn't. Whoa. I would never do anything like that. Because they're just like me. You know? They're just trying to raise a family. They're trying to feed their family. They're trying to keep their babies safe and grow them into adulthood. That's what I believe. You know? I want to feed the cute little sparrows, and I love watching the scrub jays, but I got to take the pigeons and the rats and the hawks and clean up bird feathers and all of that. But I do it, you know? All my life I have recycled. I constantly, my entire life, I have recycled every aluminum product that I use that can be recycled. Right? Am I a granola eating hippie? No, I'm not. I was. But then I realized the policies often did more damage and didn't really accomplish anything. And I didn't like the way they treated certain individuals, especially gun owners. You know, that was one of my big things, you know. So I became a Republican. And then I saw what they were standing for. Their, you know, their stances on gay marriage and how they treat people of color sometimes, or did, or whatever. You know, their elitist type mentality. They're bending over backwards for corporations. That's kind of now all changed, hasn't it, folks? But anyway, I realized that I was purple. And I had to be purple. And I had to vote independent. And, you know, one day after listening to a radio show, Armstrong and Getty, I started to see that purple could become some sort of movement. You know? You know, the number two reason, you know, I love superheroes. I'm a huge Batman fan. So I said, hey, you know, secret identity. But mainly, the real main reason for all of this, you know, Portland likes to say, keep Portland weird. I'm a weird cat. People who know me, very few people know that I do this. But the ones who do, or the ones who don't even know, they know I'm a weird dude, man. That's what it is. I'm cringy and fringy, and these are my beliefs. That's what I'm trying to get across to people. That we don't have to fit into these little boxes. I can't make boxes. Moving on. You know, and I realize that the people that are out there that I support even, you know, Babylon Bee. I always feature Babylon Bee. I'm sure they would not be a giant fan of mine. Joe Biden would not like me. Donald Trump would not like me. Most of the politicians that I follow, most of the organizations that I follow would probably just label me as a little freaky weed guy. You know, that's fine. That's who I've been my entire life. I have grown up as a short weirdo. That's it. But these are my views. This is where I think we can go. So, if you want to join me, awesome. You know, let's start voting these Democrats and these Republicans out because they don't really care about us. And they have principles that work and principles that don't work. And it's stupid that we have to make these choices every couple years. We have to choose between this bad idea or that bad idea. Or this good idea with this bad idea have to come together. And that's the only way you can do it. Like sometimes I say, like, yeah, we'll make safer streets, but you can't have abortions. We'll give you gay rights, but we won't give you gun rights. It's maddening. The answer's right down the middle. And oddly enough, in this world, being in the middle is fringy and maybe a little cringy. But, I'll leave that for other people to decide. So, start thinking about it. Vote independently. Let's see what we can do about adding a viable third party that's not just, some sort of extreme version of what we already have. Because we don't we don't need the extreme version of what we already have from either side. So I like to think of myself as somebody, a free thinker maybe. I guess that could be one way of doing it. Somewhat of a Renaissance man. I love to play devil's advocate. I fucking hate ignorance. But, at the end of the day, I think I could probably, tie the record for the most denials, I guess is the new word, denier. Just because I want to question things. And that's what's really going wrong in this country right now. This right here, climate change deniers. If we question the status quo on climate change, we're denying it. We're denying what? Climate deniers. Am I denying climate? Climate doesn't exist? No. I don't know how much of it humans are responsible for. I don't know how much of it humans can do anything for. And some of the policies that we're trying to implement are freaking ridiculous. Other countries who pollute far more than us aren't doing shit. And we're supposed to bankrupt ourselves over it. Fix what we can fix, but let's keep the costs at a minimum. And the reason I brought this up was because I saw an ad for no on yes on Prop 30, and it said it was against, the people who voted against it were climate deniers and Republicans. Well, if you look at the simple text of the no campaign, the state of California ruled that 90% of rideshare vehicles must be electric by 2030. So Lyft is trying to tax people who make more than $2 million a year to foot the bill. That's the long and short of it. They say, fine, we have to have electric vehicles to operate in California. How can we make the taxpayers pay for those electric vehicles? Oh, we'll throw in a little chump change for clean air and wildfires, too, to get the firefighters on board. It's right there. It's in black and white. That's all it is. Even Gavin Newsom is against it. I support the guy for having that kind of courage, by the way. It's a dumb proposition, and it needs to go away. But, I want to kick the show off with kind of a new feature, kind of just like, I don't know. I guess you could call it like they said what? I don't know if that's going to be the title, but it's how about they actually said that? Yeah, we'll get into that. So this is Joy Reid. She says inflation isn't part of common language. Most people who would have never used that word ever in their lives are using it now because they've been taught it, including on TV, including in newspapers. They've been taught this word. Really? I think it was rammed down our throats. I remember talking about inflation. You know what? Come on, that's fucking stupid, dude. Trevor Noah slams Elon Musk's $8 verification plan. Charge white people to say the N-word, and Twitter will be the most profitable company. If I thought he was joking, I might laugh at that, but I'm laughing at it because just the inanity of it. white people saying it, really? So when you go on the internet, it's mostly white people using that word? Huh. Ooh, kettle and pot and all that. This one's awesome. Carjackings are also up significantly in many cities, including Portland, where the police said they do not keep statistics, but had noticed a spike in reports. Wow. Okay, so, if you would like to have your city have low carjacking numbers, just guess at the numbers. Their problem is so big that there's citizen groups up there that go out and look for stolen cars. But these are carjackings. And they don't keep statistics on it. Huh. It's pretty easy to have a low crime rate if you just don't keep statistics. Yeah, and you see, here we go again right here. Election deniers. Again, people who found it stupid, corruptible, and hard to believe with paper ballots are election deniers? Huh. That's awesome. And after what we saw in the Gascon recall, we saw some of the ways that the ballots were not being counted or the ways that they were being invalidated. And we worry a little bit or a lot. I don't give a shit at this point. I don't care what happened in the election. It happened. It's over. It's done with. We're almost 2 years gone from it. So, I will say for the record, though, that I do believe an election took place. Gavin Newsom says, reminder that every single House Republican voted against legislation to crack down on gas prices. Don't take them for their word. Look at the facts. Kevin Kiley, U.S. House candidate. I agree. Look at the facts. Newsom loudly opposed my bill to suspend the gas tax, and the supermajority killed it at his behest. There you go. Gavin Newsom could have suspended, and the gas tax in California is around 50 cents. So that's actually meaningful change. I mean, every 2 gallons you save $1. I mean, depending on how much you drive and what you drive, that could add up. Oh, yeah, here we go. This is talking about how California there's an 80% chance California will be $8 billion short when the fiscal end. But that's not they said that. They actually said that. But one of the programs that he's going to nix is unemployment benefits for immigrants living in the country without legal permission. Can we just call them illegal immigrants? I thought we lived in a day and age where everything was, abbreviated, YOLO, right? Right? NIMBY, all that. But yet we're going to drag it out to immigrants living in the country without legal permission. That's awesome. So Pastor Ducci on the left-hand side has, so you're asking oil companies to lower gas prices. What makes you think they will listen to an administration that's trying to put them out of business? Pierre, how are we trying to put them out of business? They produce fossil fuels. Biden wants to end fossil fuels. Oh, Jesus. That's the long and short of it. If you owned a market that sold burger patties and the government said, we're going to abolish burger patties. Well, you're not going to sell your burger patties at the lowest price possible. You're going to sell them at the highest price possible because you need to make all your money before you can no longer make money off burger patties. Economics. Prop 27. This is the one that's supposed to pay 10% of their take from sports bets each month after subtracting for some expenses and losses. Yeah. So in other words, they're going to legalize gambling on your phone, essentially. And they're going to subtract everything that they paid out. And then they're going to give you 10% of the take to fund programs for homelessness and gambling addiction. We should charge drug dealers a fee and use that fee to help with rehabilitation. Huh. Yeah, that would work, wouldn't it? Wow, we're going to give... Hopefully this thing goes down in flames. Kanye West can't sell White Lives Matter shirts because 2 black men own the trademark. This one's full of these really funny ones right here. So they use the term fascist garb. So White Lives Matter is fascist garb, but they won't be able to legally sell it because two black men brilliantly own the legal trademark. Well, actually, an anonymous listener of the radio show Civic Cipher applied for the trademark and gave it to them. So I don't know how brilliantly owned the trademark, but so two black men who do a radio show now own the rights to print shirts that say White Lives Matter. Let that sink in, because White Lives Matter apparently is fascist garb. So I question that. Do I now become a fascist denier? Oh. Yeah, here's another guy we're talking about. This is an uproar because they don't want homeless encampments by schools, but he wants to call the areas around schools banishment zones. Banishment zones. So this dude who's running for city controller thinks that homeless encampments should be by schools. Huh. You mean the people who are randomly stabbing and assaulting people? Huh. Yeah, they should set up next to schools. Yeah. All right. Good job. This is the other, talking about one of the oppositions to it, saying that to describe the anti-encampment law as ineffective, moving people around while accomplishing little. No, it accomplishes a lot. It moves the homeless people away from the schools. Yeah. Oh, Biden. Biden's going to be a regular feature on this because he actually said that. He said back in 2020, and this is just coming up because, again, he kind of, is against all of the coal production, and he shot his mouth off again. So this is why it's related. Well, you didn't need that explanation. I'm so sorry. But he said that coal miners facing an economy where their job is potentially phased out should just learn to program. Learn to program. Anyone who can go down 3,000 to 3,000 feet in a mine sure as hell can learn how to program. Right, because anybody who can throw coal into furnace can learn how to program, for God's sakes. Okay, I barely scratch the surface of programming. Okay, I have some technical knowledge, but I certainly couldn't program. But shoveling coal into a furnace, if that's what you do for a living, that's some hard freaking work, okay? All right, but that doesn't necessarily translate into having the ability to program. And if you're a programmer, they're essentially saying that somebody who can shovel rocks into a box can do your job. So he just pisses everybody off for no reason. And program what? In Massachusetts, at the site of the largest coal plant, this is what he said at Friday in Carlsbad, California. Awesome place. Love it. Camp down there all the time. He says, guess what? It costs them too much money. They can't count. No one is building new coal plants because they can't rely on it, even if they have all the coal guaranteed for the rest of the existence of the plant. Okay, so we have a lot of coal, but we're not going to burn it because it costs them too much money. Well, I wonder why it costs so much. Rules and regulations? Huh. Well, that one jumps way out of order. Oh, no, I know why that's here. That's why this is here. Another former team member of Twitter says that the changes, Elon Musk, we'll get more into that, made, will make Twitter noisier, more dangerous, and less interesting. Right there. I don't think that is possible. I mean, it's either going to be more dangerous and more interesting, or less dangerous and less interesting. I would just think it's just nature. But either way, don't really know how Twitter's dangerous compared to things like TikTok that are teaching people how to steal cars and how to whip them until you flip them. Whip them, then you flip them. Yeah, right there. So earlier I agreed with Newsom, and here I'm going to agree with Newsom again because, like I say all the time, I'm purple. I walk the middle. Like, if Gavin Newsom is going to pause the latest round of funding for homeless initiatives and plans to convene a meeting of local governments later this month. Why? Because the programs aren't working. The programs are attracting and creating homeless. They're making it too easy. We have to stop pretending that every homeless person is a down on the luck individual through no fault of their own that has to live there in their car. That's not the reality. The reality is we're trying to help everybody, even the ones that don't really deserve help, without some sort of cost being paid first. Look, they're criminals. They're breaking the law. They're doing things that are wrong. It's really easy. They're sleeping in an RV or they're sleeping in a car. They're probably down on their luck to some degree. Some of them are just drug dealers who find it easier to operate that way. But, in less than 25 days, America is set to run out of diesel fuel that powers our economy. Whee. Meanwhile, President Biden continues waging his war on fossil fuels and the families who depend on that energy. Wow. Waging war on fossil fuels, and you wonder why energy costs are skyrocketing. We have to buy our energy again, even though we can produce it here. We have so much we're going to get it. You know what? We're going to get into that a little later. So Twitter slapped a context note on a White House tweet. This was from a little while ago. Seniors are getting their biggest increase in their Social Security checks in 10 years through President Biden's leadership. Readers added context they thought people might want to know. Yeah, it's an automatic cost of living adjustment. It would have happened if Pac-Man was president. And I'm not talking about Pac-Man Jones. I'm talking about the OG Pac-Man, munching power pellets. Whew. They had to delete it. See, it's right there, What is the point of lying when it could be so easily proved? And this goes for both of them, man. Come on, stop lying to us. They may have even violated the law because of presidential records. I don't know. I don't really care. I just thought that was kind of interesting that deleting a tweet could be a violation of the Presidential Records Act. I don't know. Katie, whatever, Hochul. Republicans have conspiracy to make Americans feel unsafe in Dem cities. And here we go. The Center for Judicial and Legal Studies at the Heritage Foundation found that of the 30 American cities with the highest murder rate, 27 of them have Democrat mayors, and 14 of them have prosecutors backed by George Soros. That's kind of so. Half of the most dangerous cities have rogue prosecutors. Almost all have Democrat mayors. Wow. I don't know. That's really not a talking point anymore, is it? Soros, oh God, the fair and justice persecution. Okay. That's cool. Whatever. If that's actually what you were doing, then I would be on board with that. But they're not. They're the battering rams of the movement. You look at like St. Louis and St. Louis County, heavily influenced the state's homicide rates with almost whatever numbers. Oh, my eyes. I have eye strain. I can't read all this crap. But removing both of those counties drops Missouri's homicide ranking from 5th to 20th. Why is this important? Because you could say that red states have high murder rates. But within those red states are blue cities that have weak prosecution. And like we're seeing in Portland and Seattle, they reduced the police force to a point where it's ineffective. They decriminalize too much stuff. And just wait until towards the end here. We're going to talk about what they're going to criminalize that's going to really help. And it's the same thing. Georgia drops from 13th to 21st when you remove certain areas. Atlanta and the surrounding counties. So, as they twist that, we have to deal with this now. At first it was really easy just to say, fuck, dude. Some crazy dude fucking took a hammer to Paul Pelosi's head. But then you start hearing about things like NBC reporting that he didn't declare an emergency or try to leave, that they were in the house 30 minutes before the police arrived. They delete that. DePappy, right, over, calmly greeted the police and said everything's good. They then started wrestling, and he hit Pelosi in the head while the police were there. But NBC deletes it and says it doesn't meet their reporting standards. But the police report says that they seemed like everything was cool, and then the next thing you know, they're struggling over a hammer. And this is on video. He raised a hammer in response to the officer's command for the men to drop the hammer, saying, up, nope, as he attempted to get away from Paul, who yelled, hey, hey. After taking control of it, DePappy hit Paul in the head, knocking him out. DePappy was tackled to the ground and nabbed by officers. And their body cams captured this. It's weird because the story I thought was that somebody broke into the house. They were struggling over a hammer. Somehow, Pelosi was able to dial 911, and the police came and arrested the dude after he had clocked Pelosi in the head with a hammer. I didn't realize that happened while the police were standing right there. Like, this is weird. The Washington Examiner brings up a good point. Before Democrats blame Republicans for Pelosi attack, we need some answers. Am I now a Pelosi denier? A hammer denier? A attack denier? I don't know. I'm not good at calling people deniers, so maybe somebody else could come up with that. Put it down in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. But before we're assigned it, or I say we're because I'm independent. I'm not Democrat. Okay? That's why a lot of times it sounds like I say I'm Republican, but it's everybody but the Democrats. So we want to know what actually happened. They're portraying him as a right-wing conspirator, who listened to political rhetoric of the MAGA Republicans. But then a journalist goes over, and most of the people said he was in the grips of a drug-induced psychosis, then ideological-induced fanaticism. One neighbor said that he leaned to the left. He lived in an abandoned school bus with a Black Lives Matter sign and an LGBT flag. So what's going on here? Everything from his Facebook was blocked. They found a few online blogs that were, calls for violence and So this guy was a nutcase. Then they start blaming Elon Musk, of course. And as this guy's saying from the AP, it doesn't matter that authorities said that he was alone when the suspect broke in, or that they didn't believe the two men knew each other. It didn't even matter that this guy confessed that he broke into the home to target the speaker. We don't know. I mean, it's hard to trust people when we've spent all of this time, with Russian collusion, Hunter Biden's laptop, Joe Biden being the best choice, all of the lies that Joe's told, the Hillary Clinton scandals, we don't really know what to believe. We don't know if you're giving us the straight dope. And then when Hillary Clinton comes out and says he's a member of a Republican cult, I feel that it's my civic duty to remind you that David DePappy did not kill himself. Oh, man, this was just the funny one. Token black guy USA. Paul Pelosi suspect / lover in custody for bringing a hammer to a pillow fight. That's what we call a palate cleanser. Oh. Comic Dave Smith here. The reaction to the Paul Pelosi story is interesting because it demonstrates where a huge portion of the country is. They recognize how sick the ruling elite are and that the corporate press is filled with liars. This contempt and distrust of rulers is great. The words on the paper there, I wholeheartedly agree with. Because for too long, we have thrown our weight behind these two groups. And we have allowed our press to just become a clown show by clicking and by defending because they're saying something from my side. They're not your side. They don't even know who you are. You're just a number to them. You're one vote. And the media is playing along with it because, they want to be in good with whoever's going to take over. Whatever. So Twitter's free. Well, it's not free. See, look at that. It's really ironic. He's flying off on his little free bird, but it's actually going to cost, which is, I don't really understand that because I would have gone with taking away the blue check marks and then charging people a fee to be verified, to pay for the verification process. We pay fees all the time. And then if they want to make Twitter like a couple bucks a month, I guess, but I don't know what you're offering. So I think what you're better off doing is figuring out how to get the advertising model down right. I don't know. But one thing is he's saying that all the top execs he fired were for cause, so they're not going to get their money. There's Biden, Super Biden. Look at him. This kryptonite, free speech. And that's what fucking Twitter needs to be. Free speech, not hate speech, not stupid speech. Funny speech? Yeah, definitely. We need funny speech. We need inspirational speech. But more importantly, we need to be able to have political discussion. Okay? Hurling insults back and forth. Trying to win a war for stuffed shirts who don't give a shit about you. That's just stupid, bros. Bros and sisters and whatever. However you're supposed to say that, my dudes. That's just stupid. Trying to convince idiots of something, trolls. You realize these trolls are not there to be convinced. These trolls might not even share the viewpoint they're spewing. Right? I mean, go into a certain chat room or a certain forum and say that, hey, Trump's God, and see what happens. You don't even, you can't even vote, and you can still go out and say it. Twitter employees devastated to learn that their new boss expects them to do actual work. Yeah. AOC wistfully doodles Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez Musk inside heart in her notebook. Their little feud is fun, man. That's worth $8 a month, as we'll find out. New Sarah McLachlan ad says for only $8 per month, you can sponsor a celebrity's verified Twitter account. I love Sarah McLachlan, but those damn dog commercials. Following through on commitment to address Twitter disinformation, Elon suspends New York Times. Lamau, at a billionaire earnestly trying to sell people on the idea that free speech is actually an $8 a month subscription plan. Elon, your feedback is appreciated. Now pay $8. And yeah, see, she backs me up. Watching Elon Musk bother people is worth more than $8 a month. The entitled elite is not mad that they have to pay $8 a month. They're mad that anyone can pay $8 a month. Hallelujah. This was one of my favorites from Lee Zeldin. Attention, New Yorkers. Don't forget to change your clocks this Sunday and your governor this Tuesday. Oh, fierce. All right, we're going through that one. Portland homeless say that their extensive rap sheets keep them on the streets. Almost impossible to find a job. That sums up the whole problem right there, doesn't it? All right, we're going to try to wrap it up on this because this is already going way too long. Man, I like to keep these shorter. But, So this is from the Scientific American. And they're talking about how the scientific evidence of global warming and all that has become impossible to dispute. And this guy here, Guillermo Gonzalez, he's going to dispute it in a couple different ways, and it really illustrates the point of, is that denying it? The outcomes will be nothing short of calamitous for the developed countries, and at the same time, less developed countries are being prevented from partaking of the many benefits of fossil fuels provide. Yeah, we're crippling our own countries for something that we don't really have even any evidence that we can reverse or alter. They say we can, but as we're going to see, where are they getting that information? The fossil fuels have allowed us to evolve, to eat more, to be safer from extreme weather, to travel further, faster, more leisure time, drink cleaner water, breathe cleaner air, and produce more goods and services. Crude oil, right there. It's not just the fuel. Yes, fossil fuels are 80% of the energy that people use worldwide. But there's thousands of products that are made from it. You need it to produce solar panels. You need it to produce windmills. There you go. The worst decade for heat waves in the last 120 years, the 1930s. The average global temperature has risen by a little over 1 degree Celsius, about 2 degrees Fahrenheit, since the late 19th century. Nobody is disputing this. Since 1980, it has been rising 0.16 Celsius per decade on average. It's getting warmer. But is it causing more hurricanes? No. But we've only been keeping records since 1851. Tornadoes have decreased significantly, but again, we only keep records back to 1950 on that. So again, incomplete information. Maybe here's talking about, climate simulations can help scientists predict what effect climate change might have in the future, right? They can also examine official records to see if there's been any change and frequency in the strength of tornadoes. Unfortunately, it only dates back to the 50s. To complicate things further, no one really fully understands how tornadoes are formed. So the experts don't know how a tornado is formed. They have some ideas. There you go. When it comes to supposedly human-caused climate change, official statements from the government and international agencies such as the UN do not consider the incredible benefits of fossil fuels. There are things that we do. For example, how do we make steel? How are we going to make steel when our only energy source is electricity? We need to have fire. We need natural gas. If we do away with natural gas, then we're going to have to rely on other people to make our steel. How is that going to help the planet? We do it cleaner than China. So why don't we make our own steel? But these are the things that nobody is allowed to consider. One of the important things I taught my daughter was the list of pros and cons, risk and reward. If you only make a list that has the pros and no cons, seems like a great idea. Oh, look at all these good things that we can do with green energy. But what about the bad? We're not going to look at that? Oh, look at all the cons of fossil fuels, but not the pros? It's not a good way of looking at it, folks. Models have been running much hotter than the actual temperature in recent decades, both globally and for the U.S. This implies that climate models overestimate the human contribution to global warming. I'm not denying that something's not going on. So he's talking about preserving the environment. Isn't it better to obtain energy resources from the deep dead zones of the earth rather than the delicate veneer of life on its surface? Is it better to just strip mine wild forests to make biofuel, strip mine the minerals needed for the green transition? Lithium mining is hazardous to the environment, as is cobalt mining. And we require all of that stuff. And even more mind-boggling, the horrible toxicity that these batteries have on the environment. Studies are already showing that the projected supply of some of the minerals for the transition of fossil fuel-free world would fall far short of what's needed. So the plan is rich people get electric vehicles, poor people take the bus or walk or bike. How feasible is that for you to work in LA when you live in Riverside? Ask yourself that. I'm going to skip that little part. The Sahara Desert, I've said this before on here. The Sahara Desert was once a jungle. right? The Sahara has long been subjected to periodic bouts of humidity and aridity. In other words, lots of rain or no rain. These fluctuations are caused by slight wobbles in the tilt of the Earth's orbital axis, which in turn changes the angle at which solar radiation penetrates the atmosphere. There you go. Used to be. Somewhere 8,000 to 4,500 years ago, something strange happened. The transition from humid to dry happened far more rapidly in areas that could be explained by the orbital precession alone. Okay? But scientists usually call it poor parameterization of the data, which is to say we have no idea what we're missing here, but something's wrong. That's climate change for you. Something's wrong, but we don't know what it is. So let's not bankrupt our entire society over it. Let's move ahead cautiously. Let's use what we have wisely. Let's not be frivolous. And for God's sakes, if we need more electricity, let's start using nuclear. But you know what we need more than fossil fuel-free world? Water. So why don't you put that money into figuring out a comprehensive way of getting us water? Because it's getting shitty out there. We're going to skip the double standards of racism. I wanted to talk about that costume. And it's really funny, this costume right here, really quickly. 55% of Hispanic respondents said it was good fun, while 60% of self-described liberals said the costume was racist. That's funny. Yeah. There we go. This is the last one I really want to spend too much time on. Proposition 31 in California is going to ban the sale of most flavored tobacco products, including menthol cigarettes and, your candy-flavored vape pens. Main problem I have here is that if your kids still want to vape, they'll still get just regular flavored vape. But if they are really stuck on the flavor, or if you like menthol cigarettes, welcome to the black market. My father took me into the city to see a guy with Candy Crush vape juice. That's what we're doing here in California. We're going to create a black market for candy-flavored vape juice and menthol cigarettes. This is like the 30s all over again with Prohibition. We are going to make it so profitable that these gangs will kill each other to supply cities with menthol cigarettes and flavored vape. That's what's going to happen. And once your kid's there buying his grape-flavored vape, hey, you want some weed? What about some meth? You want some fentanyl? Why not? And what's to stop the cartels from importing their own shit now? Maybe lacing it with a little fentanyl, making that a little more addictive. We're opening the door for this because nobody wants to look at the common sense of something. Nobody wants to look at the pros and the cons. They only want to look at whichever side they're on. They want to live in an echo chamber. That's why Twitter being owned by Musk shows hope for the future. We need to end the echo chamber. We need to have discussions about these things. But anyhow, yeah. Welcome to the black market, kids, because that's what you're going to do, or you'll just keep vaping normal vape juice. Smoke regular cigarettes. Something like 43% of the cigarettes sold in California are illegal. So, good luck with all that, guys. Adam Carolla put this one up. I just like this. We're getting into the best of the week here. The fee, the fee, fo fum, the might as well fee, and another $1 won't hurt you fee. Babylon B. Unclear why candy manufacturers still make flavors other than green apple. Yeah, I could get behind that. They wouldn't like me, but I love them. Report. Jesus is aware that your harvest festival is really a Halloween party. Democrat strategists confused. Why do more of what got us into this mess isn't resonating with voters? Because they don't care. They're going after an agenda. That's all they care about. Yeah, Obama. Just trot him out whenever they need a smoke screen. Republicans want to destroy all the progress we've made. Sure. Sure, yeah. Okay. I'm buying that. Look at all that garbage. And it's almost like you see everything on there and like they're like Trump. But, you know, so many of those problems are squarely at their feet. Some of them I don't, child mutilation, that's a bit extreme. Knock it off, That's child mutilation is no different than climate denier, really. Just a dumb term. Rob Schneider. This is my favorite. San Francisco either has a huge homeless problem or a gigantic camping success story. Oh, man. I never thought I'd have Rob Schneider close my show.
All right. Well,
thank you, Animal. I think I was smoking some like flavored Blue Dream or something, man, because the inside of my mouth smells like cherry. Well, we denied a lot of things today, didn't we? And, I could add one more. Editor denial. God, I was shooting for like right around like 32 minutes, something like that. And I just keep running long. If you're still here, I really appreciate you. I got nothing but love for people out there, man. I may want to destroy two political parties, but I don't want to just destroy the people that, vote that way. I just want people to wake up and realize that we have some answers that are just laying on the table, and we just need to pick them up and run with it. We need to stop being locked in this bitter dispute between right and left. The answer's in the middle, so let's just destroy the right and the left. I mean, come on over. Please, like and subscribe. Come back, and maybe next time something will sink in. That's all I could really ask. Last thing, Kid Copious. I'm Purple State Party, and so are you. Love ya. Have a good week.